Hi friends, welcome back to Millennial Homesteading. Today I'm going to be making some grape jelly, and I am cheating. My grapevines are not in the ground yet, but same recipe works with fresh grapes that you get the juice from yourself, and we're using just 3 ingredients: pectin, lots of sugar, and of course the grape juice. So come along with me and I'll show you a recipe that my mom actually showed me on making some nice homemade grape jelly. Okay, so in this large stock pot, and unfortunately I've only got 2 pots, one too small and one that's way too big, so we're using the way too big one. But I have 5 cups of the grape juice in here. Over here, I've also got 7 cups of sugar. And of course, 1 box of pectin, or 1 3/4 ounces if you have like a bulk setup going. So the first thing that we need to do is actually add our pectin to the still room temperature juice over here using a whisk, and we will mix this well. Oops, I have a hole already. Alrighty, well, it's already open, looks like. And we'll just add this to the grape juice, being sure to mix it in thoroughly. This is what's going to actually gel up the grape juice into the jelly. Put that to the side, and we'll mix this in. Alrighty, and so we've got it pretty well incorporated into our juice. So now the next step is to actually bring this to a rolling boil. Helps if I put it on the right setting here. And we'll come back when this is at a rolling boil. It needs to boil for 1 minute. And while we're letting that boil, do remember, since you're going to be putting these in jars, you're going to need to water bath can these. So make sure your jars are clean, hot soapy water, and you put them in the oven to temper the glass. And also clean and have your lids on standby as well. So one thing to remember if you're going to be using this recipe for a bulk project like this. Okay, so we've actually got a hard boil for about 1 minute here. So the next step is to actually incorporate the sugar, and we'll add this all at once. That will cool down the boiling liquid, and we'll give it something for the pectin to act upon to gel, and we'll also give it a really nice sugary taste, as one would expect from jelly. Ignore the dog in the background. She's perturbed that she's not getting attention. And we will constantly stir this until we get another hard boil for 1 minute. So I'll see you then. Okay, so we have had our hard boil for about 1 minute now. So the next step is to turn the heat off. And we'll pull this away. And we need to get rid of all of that foam, or as much as we can. I do know that it foams more with a fresh grape juice than with the store-bought here. But that stuff right there is the stuff you don't want in your jars, because it just takes up space from all the yummy goodness. So I'm going to get this out of here, and I'll see y'all in a moment.
Introduce me.
Alright, and this is my lovely wife here. She wanted to have some fun actually dipping out the jelly. So we have our hot jars here, and these are little tiny jars, and they are heated up in the oven so that the hot jelly does not shock the glass and crack them. These have been checked for any sort of defects, which you'll want to do when you're washing them, of course. And 3 at a time is plenty.
Okay.
Yes, because we don't want it to get too cold. We don't want the rest of them getting cold.
Understood.
Alrighty. And we will take our funnel, which is over there.
We like this one.
Yeah, so yeah, there's several funnels you can get. You can get ones that are just a solid piece of plastic, or you can get these that have the nice silicone folder deals, which they take up a little less space. And we want to have about a 1/4 inch head space of air from the top of the jar to the top of the jelly. What is that? A little bit more. Right there's good. Yeah. As per our recipe, that's what that calls for, is about 1/4 of an inch. Alrighty. And we're just taking a ladle and dipping it over into the jars. So we will come back as soon as we're done filling up these jars, and we'll let you see the fruits of our labor, pun intended. Alright, so we have all the jars filled, and at this point, my wife is placing the lids on here. Now, Ball says you don't have to boil the lids anymore, but we still do it anyway, just in case. Purpose of boiling the lids is so that they're nice and sterile. Another thing to note when you're prepping your jars and you have the food in them, take a damp cloth or something and go around the rim of the jar just to be sure that there's no food or any other particles on the rim of the jar itself. And then once you have your lids on, you can take your bands and screw them on fingertip tight. No tighter. It's not necessary. And we have our nice little band holder here helping us out. And once we get these ready to go into the water bath, we'll bring you back for that. Okay, so we have our pressure canner here, but pressure canners can double as water bath canners. Just make sure you don't lock the lids down so it doesn't build up pressure. And in here, I've got enough water boiling that when I put my jars in, they should cover at least 2 inches above the lids of the jars. Now, of course, you want to make sure that you don't have too much water that you overflow it. This is why you have to kind of factor in how much will displace. You can even see the hot water, the hot temperature forcing the air out of the jars. Of course, we have a limited kitchen here, so we kind of had to wait for the water to come up to a boil. Ideally, you would have it boiling before you even pack your jars, but we do what we can with what we've got. Now, you want to make sure that your jars are not crowded, but you want to make sure that you've got enough room that you get as much in here as you can. And once you have your jars in, you'll put your lid on your canning device. And I'm not going to lock this down. All the lid is for is keeping the heat in. And we'll set a timer for 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, it should be done. Alrighty. So our 10 minutes have elapsed on our last batch here. Make sure to open the lid away from yourself so that you don't get any steam on you, because that would not feel too good.
That would hurt very much.
Yes, it would. And we will go ahead and kill the heat as we're done with it. And we will get our jar lifter ready to pull these jars up. Now, I'm not 100% sure if you're supposed to tilt it any at all, but I gotta get some of that water off the lid. So that's what I'm doing there. And you can already hear that one that I just put down starting to pop. Now you'll want to give these a good 24 hours to cool completely before you put them away in their final storage space. And when you, after probably 4 or 5 hours, they should all have popped already, which is just a little ping noise that they make. And that indicates that they are fully sealed. If you go to any of them later and you press on the lid, and that makes a little clicky noise, like a tin can, I believe is what they call that noise, then that means that the seal has failed, and you want to go ahead and throw that one out, especially if it's like something that's not got a natural preservative. Sugar is a natural preservative, and we got a lot of sugar in here, so I wouldn't worry too much about these, but at the same time, botulism's no fun, so up to your own discretion. But we've already got all these laid out here, and now we're just going to let them cool completely, and you can already hear them clicking away. Get some of this water off the lids. If you leave the water on there to evaporate, it will leave a less than aesthetic little watermark. But that's pretty much it for making jelly. And yeah, now once they cool off, they're ready for sitting in the pantry for up to 12 months, I believe Ball says that they're good for, and maybe even longer if you're brave. But thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.